Hi, I'm Shivam,
Hi, I'm Izzy,
and this is PhoenixChat.
where one of us can read.
Which one?
You find out.
Oh man, so second episode, we managed to
Yeah.
not tank the podcast within our first
I think we
hour
did
of
a pretty
recording.
good job.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks to everyone who's been listening to our first episode. And if you're just joining us for the first time, this is a D&D podcast where we talk about our experiences with D&D. And this episode, with the Phoenix Heart recap that is out, should be up on the YouTube channel if you want to check that out. We're also going to be talking a bit more in depth about the campaign. So if you want a bit more like context about like why we're talking about the things that we are in the campaign, please check out the recap on our YouTube.
Yeah, what he said.
So to start things out, with just more information about like our experience in D&D and things we like about it. What's some of your favorite spells, Izzy?
So, I have a story behind the spell. So it's called Animal Shapes, and it's an 8th level transmutation kind of thing. So basically, I'm gonna read the thing straight out of the book, out of the player's handbook. It says, "Your magic turns others into beasts. Choose any number of willing creatures that you can see within range. You transform each target into the form of a large or smaller beast with a challenge rating of 4 or lower. On subsequent turns, you can use your action to transform affected creatures into new forms." So basically what happened, I was a druid, and somebody casted, I think, Charm Person, or something like that, to where the person we were fighting, which nobody could really get a hit on, so we were like, okay, we have to use charms, not fighting, in order to defeat this thing. I was like, can I use this? And they're like, well, yeah, I guess. And I was like, and it worked. And they're like, okay, so what do you want to change him into? A goldfish. What? Yeah, a goldfish. Why do you want to change? Just shut up and let me change him into a goldfish. I initially wanted to keep him, but he died, so I killed it. So that is why I love that spell.
On purpose, did you kill him, or was it just like
no? It was not on
small
purpose.
shot with the goldfish? Oh no!
It's like I really wanted. So I wanted to kill him, yes, but not initially. So I was like, can I like keep him and like Darla kill him like in Nemo? No, he just died because I didn't get him in time. So, but he was a fish and died. So that is my favorite spell.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. I think my favorite spell has to be, I believe it was Enemies Abound that I used. I played a sorcerer way back when in one of the first campaigns that I ever got a chance to play in. And I managed to really, really fuck up because I went in the back where the big bad guy was. We needed to find like information on him and make sure and find proof that he was like selling like the illegal drugs or something like that.
Yeah.
And like I literally walked into this guy's like trailer. He was there. I cast like a bunch of like illusion magic to try and like pretend that I was like a fan of like his like circus performance and stuff like that. Yeah, it went downhill extremely fast due to a series of bad deception rolls. And very slowly I realized I've really, really fucked up here because I am now right next to the big bad guy. He has his entire troop of performers ready to kill me. And the rest of my team is like at least 3 turns away from being anywhere close enough to help me.
Right.
Yeah, so I got very, very lucky with a twin spell Enemies Abound and just got like everyone to just get very, very confused as I just like cast random illusions and started sprinting all over the place trying desperately to keep my sorcerer alive.
Oh my God.
And it somehow managed to work until the rest of my team could get there. the mission was a complete disaster. We burned that circus to the goddamn ground, and
my
we did manage to
God.
find the information, but
Jeez.
yeah, but it was definitely one of the most fun times I've had playing D&D for sure.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
man.
You just burned a whole circus to the ground because you messed up. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wondering why I don't give you more shit about Juliet being the way she is, it's because I realize, like, it's very easy to go down that death spiral as a D&D character.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, but speaking of Juliet, as we head into, like, a recap of our first episode, so, like, how did you end up, like, creating the concept for Juliet in general?
So, what makes me mad is I don't realize how I make these characters, and then when I tell other people, specifically somebody at work who decided to say, so let me get this straight, you're playing Swiper the Fox in D&D. And I was like, fuck. Yes, I'm playing Swiper the Fox in D&D. No, so I really like, I know this sounds really weird, but I really like Asian mythology, like Asian culture. So Juliet's last name is Haejung, and that's Korean, but she is a kitsune, which is Japanese. So it's kind of like a hodgepodge of Asian culture into a character. And I had to redraw her, like, I don't know how many times, because, like, originally I had her, like, with orange hair, really pale, and I was like, all foxes kind of are, like, orange, so I wanted to make it different. And then I tried, like, white hair, and I'm like, no, she's not, like, that cool yet, I guess, to have white hair. And then I decided on, like, a maroon kind of hair, and I was like, okay, oh, that sounds cool. And then while I was watching K-drama, I mentioned that in the last episode, but I was watching K-drama while I was making this character, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool, because she was, based off that. And I was watching what was I watching? I think The Goblin King or something like that. It's a like historical one, and so I based her backstory, which I'm not going to say on here because it's kind of spoilerinos, on that. So that is how I made her. Well, that and you asked when we were first, like, making this campaign, like, hey, do you want to join one of the guilds, because the other two are already occupied? Because what did I say I wanted to play, like, true neutral or something?
Yeah, I think you actually started off as, like, a lawful, like, cleric or something like that.
Something like that. And then I was like,
yeah.
okay, I'll make something chaotic. That's fine. And at first she was chaotic good, and now I guess, yeah, I think it's a good way to say she's chaotic neutral at this point. Because sometimes, scooping out eyeballs isn't exactly a good trait.
Yeah.
I mean, they're enemies, though, to be fair, but...
Yeah, and it was only the one robbery you committed.
So far.
So far. Oh, man.
We'll see.
Yeah. I really enjoyed, like, seeing you guys, like, create your characters, because, like, when I created, like, the world, the main thing I had was, like, I wanted there to be, like, guild halls were, like, separated by, like, some form of, like, personality trait or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, like, the easiest way to, like, separate it into, like, 3 different guilds would be, like, creating, like, a guild that was, like, based on the lawful alignment, creating a guild that's based on the neutral alignment, and creating a guild that's, like, the chaotic alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from there it became, like, very easy to, like, characterize, like, some information about it. It's like the lawful guild is all about, like, it's basically like a hospital. The neutral guild is all about, like, information in libraries, and the chaotic guild is like spy work, and infiltration, and is also just a bar.
A bar.
Yeah, I really enjoyed you putting in that detail of, like, Juliet being, like, a barmaid in the city, because, like, that really helped me, like, figure out what, like, the guild's role is to the public. Yeah, and I really like it just being, like, just like a bar by day, but like having these like covert secret ops by night.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So when you were making Phoenix Heart, like the city itself, what were you envisioning? Like to make the city look like? What kind of people are in this? Like where is it kind of based off of, like to what the audience can compare to in real life?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I wanted to like have was that like the first campaign I ever ran, it was like standard high fantasy, was like, you know, big kingdoms and like small towns and stuff like that. I really wanted to have like highly populated areas though in this campaign, and have it kind of be like almost like a steampunky kind of field. So with Phoenix Heart, I really wanted it to be like this large city like Victorian London, where like there's like all these like large like buildings and apartments and stuff like that, and like the entire like region's going through this like technological revolution, as like people are kind of figuring out how to harness like crystal power, among other things. But yeah, it was definitely just kind of like trying to figure out a way to make the city feel large, while also like making sure that the opening quest wasn't too open-ended for you guys, and you guys didn't have like any idea where to go. The other thing I also wanted to do with Phoenix Heart was also like making sure, not just in Phoenix Heart, but like all the where in the world was like the world was like this big cultural mixing pot, because like I really wanted you guys to be able to play whatever like races and stuff you wanted to, without
like giving us like some kind of creative stuff.
Yeah. Because I think on top of that too, it's like having like this big cultural mixing pot city. It's very interesting to figure out like how do the different races and stuff like that meld into different roles in the city. And like are there like any traits and stuff like that that become like more exemplified when you mix these cultures together.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, I almost went for an orc. I almost did.
Oh my god.
I was thinking about it. I was just like, never played an orc, but I think that'd be really fun for like a chaotic. But I was like, nah, I'll think of something else. And then I started K-drama and I was like, that makes sense. I almost did though.
Oh my god, that would have been such like such a wildly different character. Yeah. Yeah. And then like the biggest part was like trying to figure out world building when like I introduced you guys to the world. So the other thing I also like did for like the intro and like giving you guys like information about the world was like I wanted to really avoid the you all meet in a tavern cliche, because I did that on my last campaign, and like it's fine. It's not necessarily bad to rely on it, but like I would rather have you get like into the action in a more like interesting way than like just meeting in the tavern.
Right.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, how do you end up like you starting your campaigns and having the characters kind of meet each other and introduce themselves?
So, okay, to be fair, I have used you all meet in the tavern at one point or another. A lot of my campaigns start like that. Only because, but like I do something to where they have to meet in the tavern, not just like, oh, you all are just in this random tavern and you just so happen to meet each other. Like for my Crow King campaign, they all got a mysterious letter. How so? They have no idea, like it was with magic or something, because one of them was a druid like just chilling out in the woods, and she's like, how the heck would I be getting a letter? I'm like, magic. And I was like, y'all want to go to the tavern? They're like, okay, so we're going to the tavern. And then I started from there. So it's so yes, they're all strangers, but eventually they have one goal and they become friends and, you know, strive toward the goal.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Yeah, it's definitely like difficult to try and figure out how to get your players into like one place to like start things off, because like you need to figure out some reason that all the characters will have in their backstory to like meet in this place.
Work together and all that, yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I do mandate for pretty much like every character who like joins any of my campaigns, they need to like every character needs to like work on a team in some way, shape, or form. So
Yes.
yeah, I absolutely like hate characters that like you have to be like convinced to join like the party or like join the campaign. I don't mind if there's like a little bit of pushback and like they're very easily convinced, but like if you just spend so much time making it all about your character and like
Yeah.
just
Making
like
it just harder for everybody else to like interact with that character just because like, okay, I guess we don't need them, and they're like, actually you do.
yeah. Have you ever seen any other like character red flags coming from people?
Kinda, sorta. It hasn't been too bad, but
Mhm.
there was my first or second campaign. I can't really remember, but this character, he was a really angsty rogue, like the angstiest boy in the entire planet of angst. Like, oh, I'm the most popular man amongst the ladies. I'm a forgotten son of the prince. Blah 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 blah. I'm
Of
too good for
course.
you peasants. Blah blah blah. And we're like, dude, we're just trying to slay this dragon. Like, do you want to help or not? And he's just like, oh, you know what's really funny though? That he wanted to go. He was one of those. There's some people who play D&D just to have like inner relationships with like D&D brothels, like
Ooh.
those kinds of people. I'm not gonna say it, but those kinds of people. And I this was the druid campaign that I was talking about actually. So he wanted to go to a brothel to say that I did, and I was like, you know what? Fine, let's go. And I managed to convince every single woman to get out of the brothel because I gave them money. I gave like all the money I had because I don't know how I became so rich, but I had all the money I had, and I was like, go make yourselves better brothels or a better place. And somebody casted an illusion spell to make him seem like he was like having sex with the lady, and I burned the building down.
Jesus Christ.
He got out. It was fine. I just thought it was hilarious. But like things like that where like he just wanted to make it all about him, like, oh, I want to go do this, but I want to go do this. And I was just like, dude, I would like to go get armor so I don't die. Please.
Yeah.
Instead of you going around like, oh, I must go to a brothel, and I'm like, bro, chill. We can just sleep outside.
Oh man. By the way, quick tip for new DMs if you're dealing with a situation like that. You are allowed to say no to characters. You're allowed to call them out for like being assholes like that and like stop it for a little bit and just kind of say like, "Hey, what the fuck, dude? Don't do that in our games." But yeah, no. The only like red flag I've really seen in the character is that I had a friend. They were super new to the game. They were just kind of like it was just like a Skyrim experience for them. They didn't really understand like the role playing part and the consequences part of the world.
Yeah.
And so like they gave me their like backstory, and they hated like all alchemists and stuff like that. And so I'm like, okay. Another character ended up playing an artificer who was an alchemist, just like straight up. And so like it ended up being this like because I was just very like it's the first time ever DMing. I just didn't realize like it would be such like an issue because I figured like, oh, they'll argue in character, but that'll be like the extent of what happens.
Yeah.
And like to the guy's credit, he said like will it like break the game if I like PvP with this player and like try to kill them. And I kind of like, yeah, please don't just murder one of your party members. And thankfully, they just kind of like simmered down after that one. But like, I really should have put a stop to that when I kind of saw that character trait, and especially like that someone else had that like
like you guys are playing D&D to work as a group, as like a party to figure out how to stop or to like a solution to the problem. That's the point. Kind of D&D.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. Teamwork.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes this game like so incredible and yet so like hard to get into sometimes, because like you really need to find like people who like work with your play style in order to like create a very like successful campaign, or at least be willing to like compromise to like give other players like the things they want out of the game, even if you necessarily don't like them.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so getting back into Phoenix Heart and how I like introduced you guys, I think the main thing that needs to be there in the introduction is like everyone needs to kind of introduce their characters as well as their like personalities too.
Yes, kind of like a spotlight.
Yes, exactly. What I try to do is like come up with scenes and stuff like that to like show the characters' personalities versus just like straight up telling everyone what the personality is.
Right.
So yeah, I believe I asked you then how you wanted to introduce yourself. Do you want to explain then how what Juliet's interesting was?
Yeah. So Juliet works as a barmaid at the Jackal's Den, which is also the Canis Libertas hub hideout thing. Guild. Oh my gosh, I couldn't think of the word. So she works as a barmaid there, but she also is like, you know, a spy. And I wanted her to be introduced as like, you know, because she's chaotic good. Well, I started her as chaotic good. So as like this fun, like, charismatic, charming, you know, lady. And then a guy decides to grab her tail. And like, it's kind of like the similarity of a guy grabbing some girl's butt. So she whips around, smashes a stool or a tray over his head, and then like lifts the split in half tray over her head like in victory, and everyone's like, yeah. So like it shows that not only is she like capable of handling herself easily in those kinds of situations, but she's still like a fun, party loving, drunk box lady.
By the way, small funny story, when you like first explained that to me, I believe you like first told me that like oh, maybe like some guy in the bar is like just being like generally creepy towards her, and like that's what causes her to like set off and like be a badass. As soon as you said that, I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then like I went to like writing like the character of like the creepy guy, and I'm like, what do I do here? Because like I don't want to like because I have to play the NPC and realize like, oh god, I don't want to be like actually creepy to this person that I don't really know that well, and like but at the same time, if it's like too minor, then it feels like Juliet's just this character that like, you know, snaps over nothing.
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate that you got like the really good example of like grabbing tail, because like that's obviously a thing you shouldn't do, but also like it's hard to kind of explain, but like
don't grab people without their consent.
Yeah.
This is a PSA.
Yeah, it's don't grab people without their consent in general, because that's just obviously a creepy thing to do. But like I don't need to like, it's obviously the character, because like nobody in real life could grab a person's tail, hopefully. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so that's how I introduced Juliet.
Yeah. You know, I really enjoyed that intro. It was just so very like flavorful, and like it's a very short, snappy scene, but it told you like so much about like the character and like the roleplay you were gonna bring to the table.
Oh yeah.
And then the other thing I did was that the other thing that linked the three characters together from each of the guilds was that all of them were receiving like a Rising Newcomer Award. And that's like the place where like all three of these characters are going to like meet up together. So I had to like create like these NPC guild leaders for everyone. So like the next thing that then happened was Cass, who is a Aasimar Hexblade. And also like you're the boss and the leader of this guild, walks into the bar and like explains to you that you won like the Rising Newcomer Award. And I think this is my next point then. How do you figure out how to like role play with an NPC that like you're supposed to have like cared about this person. Like you in character probably know just so much about this person, but you as a player know nothing about this NPC as this is the first time introducing it.
Right. So I just kind of like based it off kind of her backstory too. Like, how did she become part of the guild? Who is this man? Like that kind of thing. So I settled on because like I could have easily had Cass been like a crush to her or something, like some kind of love interest, but I was like, no. I don't think she would like him like that because he helped her in such a way. It's more of a father figure than it is like a romance thing. So I was like, you know what? He's gonna be like her not dad.
Yeah.
And so that way the NPCs know a little bit more familiarity with each other, and they can banter back and forth just like how like a father and daughter would, in a way, I guess.
Yeah. And it's definitely like a learned skill too, to be able to figure out how to like banter back and forth and kind of like figure out how to do that. I think the biggest tip I'd have for like getting into this kind of role play and like figuring out kind of what to say is that like always try to say yes and, or if you can't say yes and, no but, and like introduce some new idea. But just try to keep like building off the ideas that like, the person is saying. So like I believe you said something about like challenging like a Cass to like a drinking contest or something like that in the moment.
Something like that.
Yeah. And like the way you can yes and on top of that is I had Cass respond by saying like I think I had Cass like respond by saying like, I am not like going against you in a drinking contest. You beat me every single time this has happened.
In case any of you have not figured it out yet, she's a drunk.
Yeah.
A very hard alcoholic.
Oh man. But yeah, I really enjoyed like the 3 guild leader NPCs and like figuring those 3 players out. And as we kind of move forward, we introduced the other 2 characters. So I don't know if you remember much about that because it's way back, like almost 4 months ago that we first started doing this. But did you have any like thoughts or opinions on the other 2 characters as they were like introduced in these smaller scenes?
Yes. Okay. So when we first started playing, I knew nobody but you, kind of. When we first started playing, so I was just like, "Oh, this is gonna be an adventure. I don't know what's going on." But but I saw that there was 5 people, but we only got introduced to 3 at the beginning, and I was like, "Okay, whatever." So the first after my character, which I was eating at the time, and then you're like, "Oh," so we turned to the Jackal's Den, and I'm like, "I gotta choke on my food," because I didn't think I was gonna start, but I did. So we meet Morgan, who's going around Phoenix Heart, making this giant sandwich for some fucking reason. Like, I'm gonna make this giant sandwich and get brain food, and I was like, "Oh, he's gonna be hilarious. Oh, this kid's gonna be funny." But in my mind, I knew that he was gonna be part of like a guild, like the not the chaotic guild. I just knew like I was the only one that's gonna be chaotic, but he was making this giant sandwich, so I was like, I wonder how he's gonna act. So now we have all determined he is the protagonist of our group. I don't know. I loved his character. I think he was really fun and quirky, and I'm like, oh, cool, guns, you know. And then we turn over to Boondock, and I was like, okay, this is the person we're gonna butt heads. I know it. Oh, I know it in my heart and in my soul. Because when Boondock was introduced, they were very like cold, standoffish, even to their guild leader, Faith, who's like this bright, bubbly, like cotton candy flavored.
Cotton candy flavored?
Do not eat tieflings. Colored cotton candy colored tiefling. Who with this like bright, bubbly personality, and they were super like cold and standoffish, and I was like, oh god, here we go. But then I saw the moment where like this little Kanku baby chick came up to Boondock with like a little hat, and Boondock gave them an autograph, and I was like, okay, so they're not like heartless. I guess. We'll see, because I didn't know much about these characters other than like seeing some fan art that everybody had drawn. of their own characters. So I was like, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
That's what initially I first thought.
Yeah. I also did kind of like, I would allow you, if you wanted to talk about your characters like a little bit, I'd allow you to, but like, I wanted to save the meat of it for the game. So like, because in like the game, you guys obviously don't know each other at all, and I wanted you guys to like get to know each other in a more like organic way as characters. Yeah, and so really enjoyed those like 3 like tiny little scenes because it just revealed like a ton about the characters in those brief little moments. Yeah. Again, I really enjoyed Boondocks especially because there was a tiny little like line he decided to improv where like I mentioned Faith, who's just like this really bubbly character, saying like, I know someone who's going to get the Rising Newcomer Award, and Boondock just blinks and says, who? I thought that was such like a good moment to just show this,
it was
like,
so funny,
the brick-headed personality of this man.
Yeah. Satyr?
Oh my god. Oh, Satyr, yeah.
But yeah, that's and then we got to the festival part of it, and we were all just chilling there. And I'm so upset that I didn't catch on to this because I was just like taking in the first like session of D&D. But as all of us are like standing getting these awards and stuff, our guild leaders are behind us, like, you know, proud and like, you know, gonna show us off and whatnot. Faith and Cass were talking with one another, and like Faith is like, you know, like whole giggly, oh, kawaii desu, I like this guy kind of thing. And I was like, what? So I was reading my notes, like, and like looking at my notes the other day, I was like, wait a second, they're together? They were together this whole time, and I'm just dumb?
Yeah, I literally put in that tiny little like hint in there, because like that was originally just going to be the plan from like session 0. I just planned to like, these 2 like guild leaders are like in a relationship, but it's like real quiet about it.
Real hush hush, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like such a nice thing you can do as a DM to just like put in those tiny little like foreshadowing hints and stuff like that, and then just like as the players kind of come back to the notes and stuff like oh, like shit, that's what you were trying to like get at there with that
There's
scene.
A lot of things that I look back on my notes now and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything right now, but later on I'll know.
Yeah. Oh my god. By the way, and then other big tip I have for DMs, sometimes you plan out like a little storytelling seed or like a little hint that you'll place in like an intro session and stuff like that, and sometimes nothing comes up of it, and the players never remember the storyteller seeds where like you hinted at something and then like you just forgot about that detail, but your players are always going to remember the things where like you placed something and it's blossomed in, it was just foreshadowing for something else. That's the things the players always remember.
Yeah, I think it's funny because we attach onto stupid things. Like Morgan dropped this glass. The glass is haunted. I'm smashing it against the wall. This glass has nothing to do with the story. I think it does.
Oh my god. Yeah, I was looking back at that session afterwards, like, and here's another thing that you can do as DM. If your players do decide to latch onto something like that and they're convinced that like,
make it worse.
You can make it worse. But here's the thing. How do I actually make that, like, what kind of relevance would I actually have on the plot that Morgan just broke this glass one time?
Like, I don't know, maybe you could have made, like, the glass cursed or something, and he just managed to break the curse, and I just fucking broke it. Even worse. Or something. Like, maybe there was a genie connected to the glass. I don't know, something like that. But he just hyper-fixated on it.
Yeah. But moving forward a little bit with the story, as you guys like got all these like the Rising Newcomer medals and like met up in this main area, I first like kind of introduced like the all 3 of you just kind of relaxing and like saying this is about to be the end of like a pretty memorable day. Before I started pulling the rug out underneath you guys, so what I realized was the one trait that ties you guys like basically all together is all 3 of you will just like jump recklessly into any sort of danger. Yeah. So what I decided to do was have the person giving the speech, Quincy, who was the leader of the Ibis Cogniocious leader, in the middle of his speech, he started just all of a sudden talking about like how bullshit the guilds were, and revealed that the real Quincy was kidnapped. And in order to rescue him, you guys had to rush out to his laboratory, and like if you guys failed, then Quincy would have been killed.
They failed anyway.
Yeah.
We tried.
Yeah. I also tried to like kind of imply like this is obviously like a big trap, because like, you know, whoever this big bad was. Yeah.
We don't read.
Yeah, none of you read. I was implying this out, and I was even gonna have this little scene where like Faith kind of says like this is obviously a trap, so you guys like shouldn't go, but Cass is kind of like, well, you also can't like leave Quincy for dead though, so like just kind of like a should you choose to accept this knowing.
No, we literally every single one of us were like, all right, let's go, hop off the stage before anybody could stop us. We were just like, let's go.
I was literally about to have Cass like say a word, and then you just like I'm running towards the exit, and then the other two are just following you immediately.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, let's go, boys, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, I appreciated that, at least just being able to just get right off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then we got into our next scene, and so we had 5 players in that, 4 players at the time. However, there was only like 3 guilds, and so basically what ended up happening was that one of my friends, like I mentioned, like, hey, do you want to like join our D&D campaign? Yeah, she had never played, and so like I said like, oh, we can figure something else for you, and just like if you're not interested, you don't have to stick with it. So she eventually sent me like a character concept, just kind of saying like I just want to play like just a very like cute, simple character, and so like so like, well, do you want to play?
Wait, she's never played D&D before?
Yep, nope, none whatsoever.
Oh, I'm so glad that she joined with our group then.
Yeah. Well, actually, she said she has played one time before, but like, it was at like an adventurers league or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And basically what ended up happening was that like, she played like a Warforged that was specifically just meant to be like, you know, just like a robot, and like one of the other guys there at the table apparently ended up like just doing something like or sexualizing her character in some way, and she just like left and like ugh.
Yeah, gross. Yeah. But yeah. I'm glad it's with our character or with our party now, because I really like ours.
Yeah. for sure. Yeah, and so she just wanted to make this like cute character, and so I'm like, do you want to make just like the kobolds or something like that? And then she eventually went down the list, and she's like, wait, I can be like a 2-foot tall little like frog woman? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. You can do that. I started asking her questions, and we got with this like froggy merchant. And like at first she didn't really have any like big goals or anything like that. I'm like, that's fine. We can just play as like a simple character, and we can figure out your personality and stuff like that as we go. So you guys rush forward through like the merchant district, and you find a small frog woman who's currently like cornered by these ghouls that are like charging in on her, and all 3 of you, of course, rush into action and save her. And then, what were your first reactions to Hopscotch?
Okay, so at first she introduced herself as Hopscotch. I'm like, okay, that's cute. It's a frog. I get it. That's nice. And we saved her. That's cool. And then and she decided, oh, can I show you my wares? And I'm like, oh, Khajiit has wares. You have coin, that kind of thing. And I'm like, well, we're kind of busy. And then she's like, wait, there's treasure over here. Starts digging her tiny little frog hands through the dead bodies of the ghouls and pulls out intestines. And I was like, what? Can she do this? And fuck yeah, what did she have? She had like a rib and some intestines, I think. Just like, she had
a rib and like a kidney or something.
Something like that. And I was just like, oh my god. Is she like chaotic evil? Like that's legit my thought process that went through my head. I was like, am I playing with a chaotic evil character right now? I thought she was so sweet and innocent. I guess I was wrong, but okay. So she decided to go with us to help us, I guess, to sell more of her wares. And we headed toward the complex of the Ibis Kageyoshis. And this complex you described, it was like all glass windows, glass walls. We could see inside, but they could obviously also see us. And I was like, oh, let me pick the lock for the gate that we're supposed to go in. Nah, Boondog's just gonna charge through. Okay, all right. That's also a good idea, I guess. They know where we are. So we're like, well, we should create a distraction. Eat the frog. What? Eat the frog. Frog? I guess we're eating the frog. So Boondog just yeets. Was it 2 or 3 stories high? I can't remember.
There were 2 stories or something like that, yeah.
2 stories, and she just crashes through these glass walls like a football. And she is poisonous to the touch. And so she managed to, like, create a good enough distraction for us to, like, take down some of the guards and poison them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly just, like, I can't express, like, just how good she was at role playing. Like, she honestly just took to it like a fish takes to water. Like,
oh yeah.
Just from like the initial get go, Hops is like a frog monk, and she, instead of punching, she attacks with her tongue instead. And she decided that like after like the first battle, when she finished like grappling one of the ghouls with her tongue, she was going to like talk to the like party members with her tongue out and like actually like got in character and just kind of like started talking like without like closing her mouth.
Gosh.
Oh my god. Yeah,
That's
no. She honestly role played so much better than like some of the experienced players I had in like my previous games.
Mind you, Hops, we call her Hops for short, has 2 brain cells. 2. A single 2. And she, like, her main goal is to sell wares. Well, initially her main goal was to just sell wares. For money, no. For just whatever she thought was worth her time. Which is tiny trinkets like this pocket link. Oh, perfect. This lemon, perfect.
Yeah. Honestly, like, moving forward though, like, just having this very like simple like character and backstory, we end up like really making something big out of it, especially because like afterwards of like a couple sessions in, she explained to me like I mean, as she kind of looked at like the Grung character or the base info, she realized that like Grung only live up to like 20 years. And she's like 1 year old, so which is why she kind of like acts like a toddler. But as we like got kind of talking about like the backstory, she eventually like gave me this like surprisingly dark backstory where she was like, yeah, I just like wanted to go and like see the world because like I only have 19 more years to live. So I just need to go out there and do something and like make my impression on the world. I'm like, wow, that's really dark for this like happy, bright, cute character.
Dang. Nah,
yeah.
Oh, I don't want to think about Hops dying. I'm like,
dude, me too. I think that's the worst part about like the deciding to make this like happy, cute character is that like in the next fight I had like this spooky minotaur, and how am I supposed to describe like a spooky minotaur beating up this tiny frog woman? Like it just feels bad and horrible and weird.
We would all be so mad at you if she died. I hope you know that.
I would be mad at myself.
We are all so attached. Like Essen and I, like later on in the campaign, baptized her. It's a long story, but we baptized her, so we're technically her godparents, and so this is our godchild. So we have taken her as our child.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to explaining that story.
Oh yes, everyone, what? You can baptize children in D&D? Yes, you can. Apparently.
Frantically looking up the rules. Matt Mercer, help!
But anyway, getting back to what's going on. So we defeated the bad guys, and one of them told us that the main person behind all of this is deeper in the the complex.
Mhm.
So we headed in, and there's like this lady, like swinging over a pit of acid, like the
Mhm.
classic damsel in distress thing. And mind you, Juliet, her thing is calling people damsels. That's just the thing. And she's like, well, shit, we gotta save them. And as soon as they go over, there's this giant thing. What did you call it? Like a
skeletal minotaur that bursts
skeletal
out of the
minotaur.
water.
Yes,
Or the acid.
and two gazers. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And gazers are just like these tiny little, like, almost beholders that can fire out like laser beams that do terrifying effects.
Yeah. So while Boondock pretty much, like just head-butted, grappled, just
Yeah.
the thing, the Minotaur. Morgan took care of the other two, the gazers. My character was trying to figure out how to get this lady out of the pit without
Trap, yeah.
without hurting her or herself. And
Mm.
Hops was just vibing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think actually didn't Hops try to like lasso the woman down, and like that's how he ended up like
somehow
Mhm.
it worked.
Yeah. Honestly, that was a really fun first fight, but like I think the part I enjoyed the most was that like you actually roleplayed 3 strangers being put into a battle for the first time together. I don't know if you guys meant to do this or not, but like because the battle was kind of a hot mess of like Boondock at one point like literally told you guys everyone else spread out so I can take on the Minotaur by myself. And then Juliet decided to saddle up right next to him and then stab the Minotaur. And then Hops saddled up on the other side of him and decided to smack the Minotaur.
I don't think I remember that. Like, it was kind of just like a blur. Like, we were all just trying to get into it. Like, okay, let's kill this thing. Boondock, no, I can do it by myself. Me, nah, I got this. Ka-chink, like.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I think the saddest part though is like the Minotaur was supposed to be the scary threat, and like the gazers were just supposed to be like other minions you just had to deal with as more like an environmental hazard. The Minotaur could do like 2d12 damage, and I don't think that I ever managed to roll above like a 4 for either of like the d12s of damage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no. I think like I even like hit you with like a crate or something like that, and ended up doing like only like 1, like 3 and a 6 for damage or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And rogues are really squishy too, so like it kind of was like, wow, you did nothing there, bud.
Yeah, no, it was kind of sad that it was a very like wimpy Minotaur, but at least the gazers like really did some damage to you guys, which is super weird because they're supposed to be like the minions.
Right.
Oh man, yeah, just kind of goes to show you like can't plan anything as a DM.
Oh no, there are so many instances where like I have this really cool like interaction, that battle all planned out, and okay, here's a good example from my own campaign. I introduced this water elemental after they were getting really hard smacked around by these Moreau, like merfolk kind of thing. And this water elemental just shows up. Now water elementals, like how I rolled, he had like 140 something hit points. This thing was big, and the druid, can I turn into a shark? What? Yeah, can I turn into a shark? And then the water genasi can ride on my back, and we can kill him that way. And I was like, what? Because the water genasi rolled high enough to realize there was something in the head of the water elemental. So these two decided, okay, I'm gonna rodeo bull style ride this shark. They're gonna go up into the elemental, and sure enough, they made it and killed the thing. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's moments like those where like you just kind of have to reward your players' creativity and like that, and like especially if they succeed on like the skill checks you make them roll because of it. You just kind of have to give it to them, because that's what makes like the essence of this game just so good, is just these dumb stories you can tell. Oh man. So moving forward with the actual like campaign, then I believe then the next thing was that after you rescued the woman, she introduced herself as Maria. So what ended up happening there was that one of my friends, they were supposed to like join the campaign in the second session because they were busy like when we were doing session 1. And they ended up being not busy like in the middle of session 1, and so I'm like, hey, do you just want to play this NPC for a bit? And they got so in character of this
Oh
like
my
spunky
god.
reporter. Yeah, I was literally just trying to like ask you like a couple of questions as the reporter, just to like kind of force
It's a
you guys to
reporter.
give yeah, it's a reporter, and like I figured like, oh, you guys can like give some more information about your characters and stuff like that in like a way that's organic. But she got so into character and like started just like doing question after question in like a
It was
character way she made.
beyond, man. It was above and beyond. All of the questions she kept rapid firing at us, and we were like, oh my gosh, she's gonna die if we leave her alone.
Yeah. And the thing that was my favorite part was that like she was able to like turn this character into like, you realize like we just need to take her along, otherwise like not gonna survive the way back out. Yeah, so you guys then figure out that there's a secret entrance deeper into like the laboratory, and yeah, as you like went down like the elevator, it was just like she just kept like firing off question after
Oh
question,
my
just
gosh,
name
I know.
dropping.
I was just like, what is happening? It's like,
Yeah.
what did she even ask? What were some of the questions she asked? I can't even remember.
Yeah, I think my favorite one was that I think she asked Juliet why like Juliet chose to dress like the way she decided to like dress, and like Juliet's currently just like actively covered in like blood. So
Oh yeah. Oh, that's another thing. Juliet got the first kill of the campaign. I think I was pretty proud of it. I was like, yeah, nice. I didn't even mean to, but nice. So she's just covered in this ghoul blood, and yeah, Maria was like, so why are you dressed like that? For style. I don't like. How do you respond to that? I'm just covered in blood. It's a new trend. Being covered in ghoul's blood. It's fine.
Oh man. Yeah. I think my other favorite question is Maria also asked Hops like what Hops was doing there, because Hops is just a tiny little frog merchant and not really an adventurer. I don't remember what like answer Hops quite gave, but I think it was just something like, oh, just here for treasure, the standard stuff.
Right. I think she tried to sell Maria something at one point as well.
Yeah, I think she tried to sell Maria like a rib of one of the ghouls.
Something like that. But speaking of, so we're all like heading down this elevator, and like there's guards and stuff, and we're like, okay, we gotta be sneaky about this. Hops takes initiative and decides, you know what? Those people look like they could use a sail. Just goes straight up to these guards, holding the still bloody intestines, mind you, in her little froggy green hands. Yes, I have these for sale. Would you like to buy some? And you made her roll an intimidation check, and it scared the shit out of them where they ran away. And we were like, oh my god.
Yeah, no. It's so again, because like Hops' player was a very like new player, she said like out of character, like, oh, I think like Hops would do this, but like I don't want to like hurt the party because of it. I don't want like the party to like fail this thing that they're trying to do because like I wanted to. And I think as like DM, you really need to like you need to let your players do that and occasionally fail, but like fail forwards. But like see she was allowed to do that and like allowed to like scare this person away, and just like I really liked that moment because I feel like it really kind of taught her like I am allowed to fuck up and like mess with the party because of Hops will do whatever Hops wants to, and I might punish them ever so slightly for like the Hops' actions, but I'm never going to like ruin anything or like ruin the campaign because like a character has done one thing that's in character but fucks up the party.
Like commit federal crime.
Everybody gets one. Everyone gets one.
Boondock doesn't get one.
Yeah.
They're a sheriff.
Okay.
Can I just take them all? Can I just take all of theirs? Because I guarantee you, she's probably gonna commit another one.
I mean,
on accident.
Yeah. Here's the thing with that though. I will definitely I'm just gonna start warning you if you're going to commit like a federal crime or something like that, and if it's especially going to like ruin the campaign.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to like ruin the campaign in one blow.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, like, I get why you're doing these impulsive things, but just understand that they have consequences, and just understand that like.
Oh, I'm fully aware. I just didn't read.
Yeah. I think the thing as DMs you need to do in order to like make these consequences feel real is that like if you can have like a rule book, quote unquote, like a laws of like the land where like there's some that are probably pretty obvious, like if
don't
you
kill.
decide don't kill, if you steal from people that's almost definitely illegal, that kind of thing. But like also going into like different things like I also ruled that like necromancy was illegal unless you like got like certain permits and like went through this bureaucratic process. And the crime that Juliet committed, I ruled that charms were illegal if you just decided to cast them on like an innocent person.
An innocent, not just like in general.
Yeah.
And what did I do? Hey, I don't want to be put in jail again. Can I just do this? Oh my god. Why would you do this? Oops.
Oh man.
It all turned out well, but she's just broke now. That's fine.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, getting back to another story, another time in the future.
Wrapping it up, I believe the last thing you guys did was you found Quincy holed up in like a little like barrier, and as you and Boondock both tried to go through the barrier, it like locked you guys out, but the rest of the party could like get through. I really enjoyed that because like you as a kitsune and Boondock as a satyr, I ruled that both of your creature types are like fae. So like, and like it actually provides like a little bit of like information of like, oh, why did this like spell block those two, and it kind of like forces you guys to either like come up with some kind of explanation or like or better yet, lie about it, which I thought like you would have to do, but I don't think anybody really questioned. Yeah.
Because Tabaxi, because she's under the guise of a half Tabaxi. I don't think they're anywhere near fae per se.
Half Tabaxi. Yeah. If you were a half Tabaxi, you would have been allowed through the barrier with like no problem. But I don't think anybody else in the party quite realized that, so like they just kind of let that one happen.
None of us can read.
You then had Morgan go through, because Morgan and Hops are the only two people who might be able to go through, and you decided Morgan was probably your best option for getting Quincy. So yeah, Morgan heads in, talks to Quincy, like Quincy says like, oh, thank God you guys are here, I can take down the portal to let the rest of you guys in. And that's when the trap was sprung, because as soon as you guys let the rest of the party in, Maria decided to take the gun that you guys gave her and shoot Quincy, killing him.
To be fair, we did not give her a gun. Morgan gave her the gun. Morgan is the gun guy. So technically, it was Morgan. I'm not blaming just Morgan, but, however, this is where our trust has died. The very first fucking session of, why don't you trust NPCs anymore? Because every fucking NPC we have come across at some point has tried to kill someone.
My bad. Oh man, yeah, that was like my entire plan for like this first arc, was like, it was this like whole big trap, and like if you guys had decided to like slow down at certain points and try to like investigate certain things, I would have given you some more clues to saying like why is Maria so like enthusiastic despite having been in like this near death scenario, or like the biggest
That's how
one.
she was.
Yeah. Why is Quincy being like kept up in this lab, and like why is it like all is being like broadcast and stuff like that, and why is this like the challenge sent to you guys to come and stop them? Yeah.
Because
But,
none of us can read.
well,
and we were all like, oh, we got this. No, we don't. Crash and burn.
Yeah, so the first mission you guys ended up running was a complete and utter failure because Quincy ended up being killed, and then you guys suddenly then learned about the fact that Maria was a shapeshifter, and Maria could transformed into this like undead creature that started attacking you guys. And I believe then the last thing was Boondock and the brand, if you want to explain that bit.
Yes. So while we were fighting, the bad lady, not Maria, was trying to saw off Quincy's hand basically to open like the secret portal or the secret door, and we were like, what the heck? Hops was currently trying to eat Quincy to stop to stop them from getting the hand, and like you know how anacondas try to like swallow things whole? That's what Haas was trying to do, but with Quincy's dead body.
Oh my god.
So, and as that was happening, we were trying to get Maria away. Boondock was fighting them head on, and they managed to wrap their hand around Boondock's throat and cause this brand. And when they put this brand on him, or on them, we didn't know what the heck it did until the shapeshifter started turning into Boondock, and we were like, what does that mean? Like, and we were like, we don't know this guy, we don't know Boondock very well in order to like figure out who is who anyway. But so finally, after all of us were kind of like hurt, and there was barely a scratch on this shapeshifter, they left, and we're like, "Ha, you guys suck." And we're like, "Well, we know, but stop. Okay, bye." I was trying to heal Boondock. Morgan went into the secret room that kind of opened up and found out some stuff about what's been going on in his guild. And if you want to explain that a little bit better than I can, because I can kind of remember some bits and pieces, but not like everything.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that was happening was in the guilds in general, necromancy and experiments with necromancy are generally considered illegal unless you go through like the very specific like bureaucratic processes and like make sure that everything's like above board. Apparently, what some members of the Ibis Cogniocious Guild were doing is that they were like performing forbidden necromancy experiments, and you guys found a soul cage, which is like a small device that like ripped the living soul out of a creature and has like kept it in there. And as like Morgan's kind of like freaking out in this like weird creepy lab, he finds like a bunch of documents and realizes not only is Quincy the guild leader the person involved with all these forbidden necromancy experiments, but as he kind of looks through the papers, he realizes that his own father, a former Ibis Cogniocious member, is listed on these documents and was involved with these experiments.
Just had a revelation, but I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm so sorry. Okay, continue.
There you go.
So Morgan found all this out and hid most of the documents away from us. As we finally head in, we're like, and there's like these creatures all like caged up in these like cages and stuff, and we're like, what is going on? And Morgan reveals like, hey, some shit's been going down here, like necromancy shit. And we're like, okay. And then we decide, let's just loot the lab.
Yeah. Here's this creepy forbidden necromancy lab. Well, what else is in there?
But yeah, what else has got in here? So we all rolled, what was that, a D100 or something?
Yeah, I had a random items table.
I got this cone that sucks the fat out of anything. It
Very
was
niche.
weird.
Mhm.
Boondock got this rope an animated rope that they can teach the rope how to do like different like knots and ties and stuff.
Yeah, which is so appropriate.
Oh yeah, because sheriff, cowboy, that kind of thing. I don't think Hop's. Oh no, Hop's got snails that are all rainbow colored. Like there's one of each color of Roy G. Biv, like snails.
Yeah. There was actually pairs of snails that were all.
Oh, they're pairs? Oh, I'm sorry.
They actually do have like another effect tied to them, but you guys haven't triggered that effect yet still?
No, we just made shrapnel bombs out of them.
Yeah. This is fine.
Yeah.
Oh man. But I guess as we kind of as I kind of introduced like the main villain there though, what did you guys think of the shapeshifter, as we called him then?
I was mad. I was like, what? Of all the times we gave an NPC a gun, and on the first session, I was like, you know what? The first session, okay, I get it. We're gonna go try and defeat this bad guy. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I was not at all expecting the lady who questioned all of us continuously. I was like, are you kidding me? And we failed for one. I was like, oh my god, what have I got myself into? I was like, this is too big brain for me. I don't know. Okay, I guess we're gonna figure it out from here. So at the very end of the session, we were all trying to figure out, like, okay, how are we gonna say what happened here? Because we failed hardcore.
Oh man, yeah, I felt really bad, like having the first session immediately just be like this immediate failure. But like, I thought it was at least like pretty interesting.
Oh yeah,
the like mystery that was kind of like being like slowly revealed, and like all like the questions that kind of started being like asked there.
No, it was really good. I was just like, oh my gosh, we're dumb.
Oh man. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed like creating that villain, and like I really enjoy that you guys love to hate the villain too, because like I ended up like, because like they ended up being so personal to this group of heroes. I had the villain just like appearing in almost like every single like time shit's going wrong. The villain's like there, the shapeshifter's there.
One step ahead of all of us, and we're like, God damn it.
Yeah. It really makes it personal to just like especially wave that in your faces that they're always just like one step ahead. And like it's gonna be really cathartic once you guys beat this villain.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Eyeballs gonna be snatched.
Oh man. Yeah, if you want to run through a couple like quick questions as we start wrapping things up here. Yeah, so I think my favorite question that I was asked, thank you to Izzy's coworker who decided to ask this one. Do you ever get surprised that characters do things in your game? And the answer is no. I have a genius brain. I am constantly thinking of 10,000 possibilities at any given point in time. I have perfect knowledge of all the characters.
Oh yeah, okay.
No. There is not a single session where I'm not like just constantly taken aback by like the things you guys decide to do, which I enjoy so much, because that's how like this game's supposed to be. Like I just like set up these scenarios, and you guys fucking like wow me by like creating these like creative and unique solutions.
Far out of this campaign, what has been the funniest one that has surprised you the most?
Now I hate to keep giving you shit about this, but well, Juliet decides at some point in time when there was a bunch of like creepy zombies and stuff like that were going to attack the town. She's like, oh, I'm gonna go to the graveyard by myself. I am then going to like check out all the graves and make sure there's like a warning system there. And also, if there's any like big like really strong zombies that could appear, I'm gonna make sure that I can like take them down. Which really surprised me and threw a wrench into things, because I had planned a mini boss to be at the graveyard as soon as you guys went there, and so it was me just like kind of like panicking, like oh god, I can't have Juliet fucking fight this thing by herself.
She would have, and she would have died.
Oh, absolutely. But the thing that really surprised me though was as you went there, because like I decided to just move the mini boss a little bit further down the line. But what you really managed to do was you created this like system where like I'm going to like use like sticks and attach it to like the church's like bell, and so like if the dirt gets moved, the bell is going to ring, and that's how the town knows that the zombies are gonna start approaching. I'm like, oh my god, that's like really, really good. And then I described like this big mausoleum, and you're like, oh, that's where the king zombie is going to be. So you broke into the mausoleum, found the weapon that the king zombie was going to use, which happened to be a guitar, and you disarmed the zombie before chaining the coffin up. Unfortunately, though, when you returned back to town, turns out you had accidentally desecrated Boondock's father's grave. So,
yeah.
Oopsies.
Yeah, as soon as I got up there, I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, I did it. I managed to save this whole town. Yeah. I'm so good at this game. And then Boondock and his mom are like, oh my god, what did you just do? And I'm like, oh, I just grave robbed. Hey, look, I'm so sorry. Look, it's not how it seems.
This isn't what it looks like, I swear. Oh man. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like deep diving into that scene once we get to it in the recap.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, like there was just so many like different things that were happening, and like you caused fucking Boondock to error 404 as he saw his father's like gun tar. Ma Boondock like panicking and fucking like one step away from like drawing a weapon on you. The rest of the party is so violently confused.
See,
oh man,
I fuck up a lot.
You do. Oh man, and like
good times.
That's what I enjoy though, is like you'll fuck up, but it's always in a way where like it makes sense for the character, and like because I can trace that logic, and because like you don't have an inconsistent set of like characteristics, I am totally fine when you decide to do those dumb things.
There's a lot.
There's
a lot.
To that point, if Izzy's coworker is listening and you know who you are, I understand the need to taunt Izzy about all the dumb things that Juliet decides to do.
It's rude.
And as hilarious as that is, please ease up on the poor Kitsune girl.
Bro,
she
I'm
has
so
much
scared.
on her plate.
I'm so scared. Like,
oh man.
I literally stayed up very late last night thinking about like, am I gonna fuck up and kill her the next session before we even get to her arc and all this cool shit's gonna happen? No, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just like, I'm gonna die. I really want her last words to be like, fuck you, damsel, asshole, fuck no. Really bad. I really want her. That's the last words I want from her mouth.
Well, I can arrange it. No. I think actually here's a question that I kind of want to... It's not on the list, but just worth talking about. Killing player characters. Because I think it's a very hot topic in the D&D community, is that like obviously the most important thing to your players is their characters, and you don't want to like take it away from them, but at the same time you also need to like have the threat of this world, and like have it be like, you know, like things can like hurt them, and like if they make like the wrong decisions, it can spiral into them dying and losing their character for good. So I guess, have you had any stories about like losing a character, or you as a DM having to kill a character?
Not particularly, no, because I haven't really played a character hardcore like this in a very long time for me to be like very threatening. My character could die at a drop of a hat. But I do always. I have so many characters that I'm like, oh, I can play this, I can play this, I can play this. So I'm like, but now I'm super attached. So I'm like, I really don't want to die.
Yeah, I've had one of my characters die before. Yeah, it was very, very rough because we were basically in this like giant mega dungeon, and we've been in that dungeon for like literally like 4 months straight for like these 3-hour sessions.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and my character was basically like the only like organic life form of like the entire party, and so all these like traps and stuff like that. I think this is a pre-made like dungeon that our DM was running. All the traps and stuff like that, if anybody else had like fallen into like most of the traps, it wouldn't have affected them. But my character kept getting poisoned and affected by like flame traps and just like put into these.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Getting like crushed by boulders. There's a traumatic experience where a doppelganger appeared and he had to convince a party member like, no, wait, this is I'm me, not them. And all the way at the end of it, I slowly started making my character just a little bit more unhinged because like I realized like we probably have spent like 3 weeks in this dungeon and like it's like everything has been trying to like kill me. And so like we got to this part where like a centaur, and like I decided to fucking like instead of like fighting it, I was just like a little bit off kilter and said like I'm just gonna fucking like ride like the centaur like a fucking rodeo.
God.
I had my character charge towards it. Because of my stupid actions though, the centaur fucking like plants a hoof directly into my chest. And it manages to curse me, so I cannot be healed by any normal means for the rest of the dungeon. And like I'm like, okay, this is fine. We're really close to the end of the dungeon, right? He's like, yeah, it should be fine. And then we get into the last encounter, which a doppelganger had once again taken the form of one of our allies. And so I had my character do like this whole thing where like, well, I trust the person who's the doppelganger because like it sucked for me when like all of you guys like doubted me and like look, they seem to be like on the level and stuff like that. And as we're literally walking out of the dungeon, the exit in sight, the doppelganger fucking takes their fist and slams my character upside the head, knocking me out. Combat begins. On my first death saving throw, I roll a natural 1. Everyone tries to do like medicine checks on me to try and at least like stabilize me. Everyone's failing. I make my last fucking death saving throw, and I roll a 9, and my character fucking dies with the end in sight.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah. We ended up bringing that character back because like the party dynamics was that like one of the characters was my character's like parental figure, and so like if my character was gone for good, that the parental figure character would become like so unhinged and like so fucking like crazy that it was just like completely unplayable, and we just had to retire that character too. So they had to do a quest to bring me back to life, but like,
right,
whew, that was definitely a rough experience. And honestly, like, I agree with the DM for that ruling because like it definitely like those were like those death saving throws were some of like the most tense moments of D&D that I had in a hot minute. And like I felt like actual like terror and panic when I saw like that natural 1 appear, and like everyone at the table was just like panicking and like trying to do all they can, but like nothing was working. And I think that's just again what I love about this game is just like when you create those like moments of like tension and then you can like get to the end and like releasing tension. I think that's what the game is like at its best. So yeah, personal opinion, character death, is fine, as long as you like have that tension leading up to it.
Yes, not just they did just
Yeah.
they were smote with lightning. They're dead now. Like that's no fun.
Yeah.
I have one more question based on like what you were talking about with dynamics in the party and stuff.
Yes.
How do you feel about the dynamics of this party in particular?
I love the dynamics so much. I have no idea how you guys have managed to do it, but like every single one of you has like relationships and bonds with other characters, and like if I asked like Juliet what she thought about Morgan in character, you would be able to give me like this whole like big spiel about like I think he's like a great guy, and like I really like think and like I owe my life for like saving me in all those fights and stuff like that, and it's just so good, especially because like after this first arc you guys have like all become friends in game, and like it's so good because like now that like something's threatening one of your friends, like it's personal to your character. It's not like, oh, this is just like, I guess we might as well just help this guy. It's like, no, this is my friend and I cannot like stand to see him get hurt.
Right, yeah.
And I think my biggest gripe with my previous party was that like at the end of the campaign I could have asked all of the characters, what do you think about the other characters? And it would have been like one word responses. Like the warlock would have just said shrug, fucking no. One of them's just a dude, one of them's kind of gullible. That's all I really think about them. Yeah.
I think we bring a pretty good like dynamic, like each of us bringing something to the table. Like Boondock, the voice of reason, Morgan, the moral compass, Hops, Juliet is Juliet is the very impulsive, like the one who gets the party into trouble. Essen, the one who can read. Yeah.
Yep. And that's Essen's role.
that is his role.
Oh man. Yeah. And you guys just like bounce off each other so well. Like you guys make each other's characters better by playing.
Yes.
Yeah, because like when Juliet does like her impulsive things, it amplifies Boondock's like straight edge nature and his like idea of being this very lawful sheriff. Or like when Essen kind of like acts like innocent and like sweet towards Juliet, it kind of like it makes her into this. I'm just gonna say it. Juliet's a tsundere.
No, she is. She totally is. No. That's a fact. It's a fact. That's just how she is. Because I feel like, based on like all of the interactions that she's had with other people, like the guy at the bar and like the creepy, like she's probably dealt with like a bunch of creeps before. Not gonna lie, but when it's somebody like she cares about and has been like around a while, and then all of a sudden, I'm going to show feelings toward this person. She's like, oh, what? Go away.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, just seriously superb role playing from all of you guys.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so to wrap things out, one last question then. Someone asked how to join a D&D group, which is a tricky question because I personally got really lucky and like I just jumped into DMing and like I literally just like said like, hey, like I'm gonna start like a D&D group. Does any of you guys want to join my friend group? And like I was able to get like a very big group together. But yeah, Izzy, do you have other sites or stuff to use for?
So I mean, I'm on Facebook and there's some like things you can join, like a local like Facebook group. I joined this women's D&D group page, and I kind of jumped in there, and all of a sudden I became a DM for 5 really great people, and just started playing from there. I think on, what is it called, Roll20, I think there are things you can do to like, put yourself like out there, be like, hey, I'm interested in playing, like first time player or something like that. Local game stores that like do board games and stuff like that. I know like a couple of them here. you can kind of join. Sometimes you have to pay in order to play games, only because like some are professional, like actual DMs, and they're paying for like if you play in live sessions, they have like minifigure setup and like cool like environments, so you can like physically see like where your characters are going and what they are fighting and stuff like that. So I mean, I understand why. So you just gotta hunt around, like look at different social medias.
The other thing I also warn about is that you try to find like a D&D group that kind of suits your needs. Like if you join a group, you don't have to stick with it if you're not having fun.
Yes.
And it's okay to like kind of shop around and stuff like that, and like just make sure to like know your boundaries and stuff like that, because I've heard like a lot of horror stories about like people joining like D&D groups and like there people in there being like creepy and weird. But yeah, I honestly don't think like if you stick with it and like stay on like the LFG forums and stuff like that, you should be able to find like a game that suits your needs. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 2. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter. Links are in the description or in the podcast description if listening on Spotify. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to let us know in the comments or hit us up on Instagram. Our DMs are always open. Yeah. You have anything else?
Yay! Nope, you did it pretty well. Ta-da! Episode 2.
All right, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yay!